Well, then let me close the public portion. Jerry, let me ask you about this, because this comes under the doctrine of merger, right? That you may merge two adjacent lots under the same ownership?
Right. There's a couple of issues here. The land use issue relates to the consolidation of the lots. Actually, under the municipal land use law, that can be done without municipal approval, but Princeton does have a provision requiring that. I think, as Jack had pointed out in some communication, I'm not sure the board saw it, the lots being in common ownership and one being non-conforming, they would merge as a matter of law anyway. The separate issue, I guess there are two separate issues. One, just, is there any issue with respect to the ownership of Lot 6? I don't see in any of the papers there's any issue. And the second one is, assuming that there's no issue as to ownership of Lot 6, is there an easement? Whether there's an easement or not is not something that the board can get into. That's really a private, real property law question, and if neighbors want to assert claims that they'd have an easement, they're certainly entitled to do so, but that would not be an adjudication that this board would make. It would be something that a court would do. But maybe on the ownership issue, Derek, do you want to jump in on that, or and Bob?
I mean, the ownership, that the little research that I did correlates with what Mr. Casey related to the board already. And as far as subdivision, there would be numerous variances. I mean, it would be 2 flag lots, and the requirement in this zone for a flag lot in the R5 zone requires that for a flag lot and one other lot to be created from a lot or consolidated lots, the lot or area to be subdivided or re-subdivided shall be 3 times the lot area required for the zone, which is the half acre. So they would need a lot area variance. The pole, the driveway to the flag, needs to be 50 feet wide. It can be reduced. They would need a variance for that. The 30-foot setbacks on a flag lot would make it difficult to have 2 lots. There's a lot of variances that would be required. It's not an as-of-right situation.
Right. And in addition, you're actually having one flag lot behind another flag lot. And it's really not even contemplated.
It's not contemplated by the ordinance. And in terms of that 15-foot lot, that would be would be within the setback of that lot. So nothing could really be built in that 15-foot sliver. I'm not sure about a driveway. I mean, I don't know if the board, that was a concern mentioned by some of the neighbors. I don't know if you need 2 driveways there. I don't know if the applicant wants to speak about that, but.
Anything else that we should know?
That's all I have at this point.
Right. Mr. Casey, did you submit a title search, or what the neighbors mentioned?
Yeah, so I did not submit a title search, but I did speak with Lee, or we exchanged emails, and with Derek. I actually am really familiar with this area, as I actually represented Ms. DaCosta when she purchased from Mr. Betleon, coincidentally. And at the time, and when this came up, I went back and checked the title work then. Not only did I do that, but then I ordered a new title search for Jim's current lot, Lot 6, because I had heard that there was an easement or common lane, none of which that I've seen. But even if there is, right, and I appreciate the comments of the neighbors, absolutely. We're not here tonight to talk about access and who can and can't have access. We own Lot 6, right? Mm-hmm. So we're simply asking that they be merged. And you're exactly right, sir. As a matter of law, it's my opinion that they already have merged, because we have a non-conforming Lot 6 and we have a conforming Lot 4. So as a matter of law, they should merge into one. Notwithstanding that, we own Lot 6. My client intends on selling the property. There's no proposed building for it. Any subdivision that would ever happen in the future would come back here again as well. So, that I just wanted to make that clear, that I haven't seen a common lane. If there is, there may be one. I have never seen it. My title company has never seen it. But that doesn't preclude us from our application this evening. Oh, because Lot 9 was a conforming lot. Lot 4, well, you're exactly right. Lot 4 is conforming, and that's why I'm saying it now should merge with Lot 6. Be- Well, I mean, because I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Let me ask you a question, because I took a quick look. I've done a lot of land work in this part of Princeton, and what I looked at were the Chancery Division records of the Superior Court when this came through as a tax case, and there was no mention in their description of the land of any sort of easements or usage. I'm assuming that if you went back through the court records, you might have found something, but in fact, when this was sold as a tax lot, it was left behind by Foster Investments. It was advertised and it had a tax number. So my feeling is that, there's probably a lot more research that can be done on this, but we are here this evening. We've heard Mr. Muller explain exactly what this is, and I think that we probably should make a decision, and I think you can go on working on it and see what you can do. Anybody have anything?
I'm happy to share the title search with anyone who would like to see the title search. I'm happy to share it with them.
Okay, but in the meantime, the law says that we can do this. Do you want to do it tonight?
Yeah,
Well, but what the board does is apply the law, or as we see it.
I just, my comment is that I have a lot of sympathy for the neighbors, but the main contention of the neighbors that I have sympathy for is that they have had access to the lake via this lane and would like to continue to have access. I don't see that in any way precluding us from perfecting this joining of the lot. And as Mr. Muller said, that there's a remedy under law, not with this board, but with the courts, to actually get the implied easement realized as a true and durable easement, and that's the way to keep your access to the lake.
Okay. Is that a motion, David?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the joining of the lots.
And I second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Does anybody else have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I regret this too, but I don't. I do think that the access easement isn't in this jurisdiction. That's what I would argue.
We're not saying that, because that's outside of our bailiwick. You might very well have a valid claim to an easement, and in fact you might have a valid claim invalidating any prior transaction, because your point about merger with the prior lot is a reasonable point. But I don't think that's things that we can adjudicate. That's not a land use issue. That's a real property issue, and that would have to be decided through a case in the Superior Court. So if you want to assert rights to an easement, and I mean you're certainly entitled to do so, it would be by bringing a lawsuit making that claim.
I have a question, please. Does it disadvantage, does it put the neighbors in a more difficult position to assert that claim if we join these properties?
No,
Exactly the
no,
same.
no,
You know of
no,
no
no,
impact?
no, we're not. Oh, wait a second. We don't make adjudications as to real property law. That's done by the courts. We do not have the power to do that, and we are not dealing with alternative facts. This board has no power to take up that cause. That's something you can do with the courts. We don't deal with real property issues. We deal with land use issues. They're entirely different. The case law is entirely clear that it's a separate area, and in fact, in terms of, again, to respond to Ms. Wilson, whatever we do here is not going to affect your rights to an easement if there is an easement, and there very well might be one. But that's not something that we could determine. We don't have the power to do that. No, that's not true at all. It would have no impact on your case. No, we haven't.
No.
No, we haven't. No, we're just approving a lot consolidation. Now, you can have a lot, and when you have an easement, there's always a lot. And the question is whether there's an easement over a portion of the lot. And you could assert that claim, and you might have a valid claim. Very well might have a valid claim.
So
Well-
if I may, I haven't seen it because it's not in the title work that I've seen. If there is a valid right of way in an easement, nothing is extinguishing that this evening. My client owns that lot, and all we're asking is that the lots be consolidated. So if there is an enforceable easement, then that would still run with the land, and nothing changes except the lot line changes tonight. That's all. So I mean, I'm happy to discuss it with you if you would like and share with you the title search that I have, because I think that we're just confusing the two things. If the easement wouldn't go away by a lot consolidation. I mean, I don't think that's the appropriate form.
You know, okay, I understand what you're saying. I think you have a lot of sympathy, but you've been told your remedy really is through the courts. So we have a motion and a second, and if there are no further comments, I'm going to ask Ms. Catronio to call the roll.
Ms. Cronmiller?
Yes.
Ms. Capizoli?
Yes.
Mr. Cohn?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes.
Mr. Texarney?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotman?
Yes.
Mrs. Ullman?
Yes.
Mrs. Gunning?
Yes.
Mr. Williamson?
Yes.
Motion carried.